So in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at Google Drawings, which is part of the Google Apps suite of tools. And it is a really easy tool to use and really versatile, and has some great ways that it can be used to support thinking skills. So you'll find Google Drawings in your Google Drive. So you go to New, and then on More, and then you'll find Google Drawings. And that opens up a canvas like this. You can give it a title. And if you want to, you can make the canvas bigger. So down the bottom corner, there's a little arrow, and if I drag that out, I can change the size of the canvas. If I want to put in a background, I can insert a shape. So if I go into the shapes and just choose an oblong and just drag it, and then I can click on the fill tool and make it whichever colour I want it to be. And then I can add text. So there's a little text box tool here, and I can just add some text. Just like in other tools, you can change the font size, and you can bold, and you can change your colour. Okay, so all of the same tools that you're used to finding. I can insert an image. Now I can either upload one from my computer, or I could do a Google search, which will bring up images that are copyright free. So I can take that image here and insert that, just giving it a drag, and then resize it to the size I want. So there it goes. I can also insert all sorts of different shapes, huge number to choose from there. So if I want a little heart shape, for example, there are also in there some arrows. So very useful if you're creating any kind of flow chart. You can change the color, you can resize those how you want them to be. And there's a little call out, so you can have little labels, you can have speech bubbles and so forth. So you can have the cat having a little conversation over here. And if you click inside it, and you double click inside any of these shapes, you can put in some text, and again you can change the size and the color of those things and the border around the outside. There's also some other arrows, so there's lines that you can put in, and there are also arrows and various connector tools, so curved connectors, so you can connect from here over to there, for example. So you can see with the number of possibilities that there are, you can quite easily create your own graphic organisers. So I'll now show you a couple of examples that you might use. So let's have a look at a character comparison chart. So I've just prepared a couple of things earlier for this. So if I want to have a coloured background, I go back and insert the shape. So I grab that oblong and again fill that in there. I could put an image in the background if I wanted, or I can just change it to the colour that I want for the background. Then I can add text. So I've just got a couple here I prepared earlier. So this is a character comparison. So I can just Oops. The reason that that's disappeared is because of the order, so I need to send this box to the back. And now I'll get this other text and pop it over here. So if I wanted to do students to do a sorting and character comparison, so things that are similarities and differences and things that are the same for both of them, a lot of different ways they can do it. They can just add text and type them underneath. If you want to keep them organized, it's often better to actually make a shaped box. So just make sure that we've got that in the front, which it is. We could colour that box a different colour just so that it stands out, and then students can type things on there. I can copy that box by just right clicking and copy and paste, or I can do Control C and Control V to get into the box. So I've got a one over there and one for in the middle, and I can either get students to type their own ideas in the box, or I can pop some words around the outside, which they could then place on the box. I can make sure I bring those to the front, and then the students can put the words into the correct spaces on the chart, plus add some more of their own if they want to. So it just depends how much scaffolding I want to give them, whether I give them words or get them to do that themselves. Once you've made the template for this, so we might have it like this, we would add an extra label at the top here for both. I'll just copy the formatting for that one so that it's the same. And so once I've got it how it's ready for the students, I can then send this out via Google Classroom, and so that they have their own copy, or you can send them a link and force them to make a copy, but Google Classroom is certainly the easiest way to do that. Now another example there might be some classifying. So I've started making a chart here for floating and sinking. Going to add an extra line in here. So I just pop in the line where I want it to be. I can change the thickness of the line there. Whoops. And I can add another text box label here, which would be sinks, and change that to the same size as the others. Okay, so I've now got the labels ready to go. I've added in some pictures, and I could add some more. I've just put in start. So I would just go to insert image, and I did a search the web for that. And so I might search for a branch. Okay, and I decide to use this one, for example. So I'm going to drag that over. It'll come in quite big. I'm going to close that side box, and I'll make that same size as the others and put it on the side. So I can add a text box to that. So I go to the text box, and I can put in branches, and probably make that a little bit bigger. So I'll go to 18, and I'm just going to change the colour just so that it's a bit easier to read, and just bring that back out. And then I'm going to put a background colour in so that I can see it. So I'm going to go to full colour while I've still got that highlighted, and choose that, and then I can move that up to the top. Now, at the moment, if I try and move this one, they'll move separately. So I need to select them both and right click, and if I go group, that will group those together so that when I move them in future, they move together. So I can pop that up there. So I have a few of those ready. Over here I've put in the instructions just by doing a text box. So I want them to predict first by dragging the pictures to where they think they belong. And then they can go and test them in the class water trough and move things to different places depending on where they were. You could also use this as a form of summative assessment. So I hope that's given you a few ideas of how you can use Google Drawings. Certainly, virtually all of the graphic organisers that you find are able to be recreated in Google Drawings so that you can make your own, send them out to the students with a copy for them to work on. And some of these things you could do in Google Docs, but if you're wanting to have them moving images and you want to have it very graphic, then Google Drawing is a lot easier to use.